I said to all of you viewers of Equinoxe Television, it's time for the news. Thank you so much for always being with us. I'm just started right away. Another very sad day in Cameroon. 10 persons lost their lives in 2 separate road accidents on the Yaoundé Bafoussam Highway this afternoon. 10 people, all from the same family, died in a road accident. They were on their way to bury a member of their family in the West region when the unfortunate accident happened. Survivors are battling for their lives in hospital, and in Douala, a truck crushes a lady to death at the Peka, this sweet neighborhood out of the country. Gabonese former First Lady Sylvia Bongo has spent her first night in detention. And in sports, Cameroon is in Group C in the upcoming AFCON to be hosted by Côte d'Ivoire from January 2024. That was revealed during the draws which took place in Abidjan. That was yesterday. Viewers, those are our major stories. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for always being faithful. We begin this edition of the news on a rather sad note. We told you in the headline that at least one person has lost her life in a road accident which happened this afternoon in the Peka, the sweet neighborhood in the economic capital, Douala. It was in a road accident which happened after a heavy-duty truck crushed a lady beside the road. The truck was reportedly on high speed when it lost control. One person died on the spot while others are receiving medical attention. The accident perturbed traffic circulation for several hours, and security forces have opened investigations. And now we talk about this other road accident which happened today. At least 10 persons, all from the same family, died on the Bafoussam Yaoundé Highway. We got information that they were on their way to the West region to bury their bereaved family member when the accident happened. Let's now have more on that unfortunate incident with Lucy Liengu is here.
A bloody Friday morning on the Yaoundé Bafoussam stretch of the National Road number 4, precisely around Obala. At least 10 persons have died after a collision involving a truck and a Toyota Coaster bus. Sources say the victims, members of same family, around 11 a.m. were on their way for a funeral ceremony when they were violently hit by the truck. Several persons were stuck in the vehicle, some lying on the tar helplessly with blood oozing out from their body. Eyewitnesses blamed the Toyota Coaster bus for overspeeding. 25 persons who survived were immediately rushed to the Obala District Hospital, and also the deceased persons were transported to the mortuary. According to statistics from the Territorial Gendarmerie Brigade, 10 persons died, including 7 people from the coaster bus, 3 people who were in the truck, but 3 corpses are yet to be identified. Investigations have been launched to determine the actual cause of the accident.
Sad indeed, and may their souls rest in peace. And until these other sad notes, the former Secretary General of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon, Monsignor Benoit Kala, has passed on. He reportedly died in the early hours of today here in Douala. In other news, Cameroon is increasingly depending on palm oil from abroad to meet local demand. National supply remains far below demand as a result of limited production. Economists say Cameroon has all it takes to reverse the tides, and that should be done by the government as soon as possible, as Babila Jonathan tells us in the report which comes up next.
Despite being one of Africa's largest palm oil producers, with an estimated annual production of over 400,000 tons, Cameroon imports hundreds of thousands of tons of palm oil annually. It is estimated that Cameroon will import more than 143,000 tons of palm oil this year.
As long as we are unable to increase local production, we will be obliged to depend on import to satisfy the local population and all companies of the second crude palm oil transformation sector.
Though the industry provides significant revenues, yields per hectare are relatively low. This is attributed to aging plantations and limited use of improved seed and technical knowledge, particularly fertilizer, in the three production regions, Southwest, Center, and Littoral.
It is a consequence of the fact that the state has not taken measures to meet the needs of actors of the sector.
Besides helping the main producer, Soca Palm, to double its production, economist Dr. Jean-Marie Biada says creating an enabling environment for companies in the crisis-stricken Anglophone regions to expand is key.
J'exhorte les pouvoirs publics qui sont en train de faire des pieds et des mains pour amener la paix dans le nord-ouest et le sud.
I urge the authorities who are doing everything possible to restore peace in the northwest and southwest, especially in the Ndian division where palm oil is located in Ekondo Titi. If peace is restored, palm oil will be able to expand its plantation in Lobe. Same for the CDC.
Au même titre que la CDC également qui intervient de ce côté, elle étend aussi ses plantations.
To Dr. Jean-Marie Biada, providing incentives for small-scale producers and increasing their number will also go a long way to balance the.
And now we move on frontiers. Viewers, the war between Israel and Palestine continues. Several persons have already lost their lives on the Gaza Strip in the bomb blast by the Hamas. Lucy Liengu is here now.
Hamas is an Islamist militant movement and one of the Palestinian two major political parties. Hakarar al-Mukawama al-Islamiyya was founded by Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, a Palestinian cleric who became an activist in local branches of the Muslim Brotherhood. Yassin established Hamas as the Brotherhood's political arm in Gaza in December 1987. Following the outbreak of the First Intifada, a Palestinian uprising against Israeli occupation of the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem, in 1988, Hamas published its charter calling on the destruction of Israel and the establishment of an Islamic society. The increase in violent Hamas attacks on civilians and military targets impelled Israel to arrest a number of Hamas leaders in 1989, including the founder Sheikh Ahmed Yassin. In the year 1983, Hamas refused the peace agreement between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization, along with the Islamic Jihad group, subsequently intensified its terror campaign using suicide bombers. After Hamas took control of the Gaza Strip in 2007, Israel declared a Gaza Strip under Hamas a hostile entity and approved a series of sanctions that included power cuts, heavily restricted imports, and border closures. After some years, in 2014, tensions between Israel and Hamas rose following the disappearance of 3 Israelite teenagers in the West Bank on June 12. Netanyahu accused Hamas of having adopted the youth, and he vowed not to let the crime go unpunished. In October 2023, Hamas launched a coordinated land, sea and air assault that took Israel by surprise. Within hours, hundreds of Israelites were reported dead, some missing, and more than 100 were taken hostage.
And now from the Gaza Strip, we take you to Gabon. Sylvia Bongo Ondimba, the Franco-Gabonese wife of Gabon's deposed President Ali Bongo Ondimba, was charged. She has spent her first night in prison or in detention. She was charged for money laundering and kept under house arrest. Her arrest comes a month after her husband was overthrown by the military junta in Gabon. Let's now have the details of her detention with Cedric Chakotio.
The Franco-Gabonese former Gabonese First Lady, Sylvia Bongo Ondimba Valentin, is now in detention in the Libreville Central Prison. The wife of deposed President Ali Bongo had been under house arrest since a military coup at the end of August for alleged embezzlement of public funds. She was charged in particular for money laundering and forgery and use of forgery on September 28, 2023. She was temporarily imprisoned in the middle of the night after an endless new hearing by an investigating judge. Sylvia is also at the heart of an investigation into alleged massive embezzlement of public money in the company of her son, Noureddin Bongo Valentin, already incarcerated with 6 of the company's officials.
J'ai appliqué Sylvia Bongo en prison. Je préfère qu'elle reste à vie là-bas. Jusqu'à. Pourquoi je le dis? Parce que ils ont trop fait souffrir le Gabonais.
Il faut qu'ils déposent, on récupère tout l'argent qu'ils ont volé avec toute leur famille pendant 60 ans. On est pauvre à cause de ça. Alors que nous, on est seulement 2 millions d'habitants. Voilà comment le pays est pauvre. À cause d'une seule famille.
The soldiers who overthrew Ali Bongo accused his collaborators of having rigged his re-election. They suspected the former First Lady and her son Noureddin of having manipulated the ex-president while he suffered from the after effects of a serious stroke in 2018. The soldiers said Sylvia Bongo and Noureddin Bongo were the real leaders of the country for over 5 years now. Sylvia Bongo's lawyer, Francois Zimmerrein, is denouncing what he describes as an illegal procedure motivated by revenge.
And still in foreign news to Nigeria, we're bringing you updates on news in Senegal and Nigeria as well. Babila Jonathan in the report which comes up next talks on Ousmane Sonko's candidacy for the presidential election in Senegal and also controversies around Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's identity issues.
Senegalese opposition leader Ousmane Sonko is back in the 2024 presidential race. His candidacy is restored after a court annulled a ruling that would have prevented him from running. At the end of a 12-hour marathon court session Thursday, the Ziguinchor District Court ordered that the name of Ousmane Sonko should be re-enrolled on the electoral list, thus clearing the path for his presidential ambition. Labour Party 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi sparks debates over Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's identity.
He should reintroduce himself to the nation he governs and to the world for avoidance of further doubt. He should let the world know his name, his nationality, his place of birth, his parentage, the primary and secondary school he attended with dates, as well as the actual universities he attended and certificates obtained. It should indicate clearly where and when he did his national youth service.
This comes after months of dispute between the president's lawyers and legal agents of Atiku Abubakar, presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), that culminated in the deposition of President Bola Tinubu's credentials by Chicago State University in a U.S. court last week. The president's followers have dismissed the claims of Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar as false.
Somebody who contested a presidential election and won close to 8.9 million votes to be talking about his identity, I think is preposterous.
In a statement by President Bola Tinubu's ruling APC party's National Publicity Secretary, Felix Moka, said that the former governor of Lagos State does not need a reintroduction and does not have any identity problem.
And now we talk sports. Viewers, Cameroonian legends tell the head coach of the Indomitable Lions to take their first games at the African Nations Cup seriously. Jeremy Soren, Jitab and Thomas Kono were speaking to Equinoxe Television after the draw ceremony in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire on Thursday. Smart Njikan Gabriel talked with them and other representatives of Cameroon's future opponents at the AFCON.
With all 24 teams that qualified for the African Nations Cup already fixed to their future opponents for the tournament, it's time for preparation for Cameroon's legends. The Lions need to be serious from day one.
General, with such tournaments, the secret is winning the first game. When we start well, it awakens the spirit of the team, and the coach should put that in the minds of the players. Cameroon has to be prudent and get into the tournament aggressively, knowing that the first match is the decider and it's like the finals.
For the president of the Senegalese Football Association, they will be coming for revenge over Cameroon. It is the most difficult AFCON in our history, but we are very set for it because it is a group that knows themselves. The last time Cameroon won us in Gabon, so we are getting ready to have our revenge in a fraternal derby.
Un derby fraternel.
The head coach of the Gambia accepts their underdog's position, but he remains confident. It's very difficult. We are not the favorites. Senegal and Cameroon are the favorites. We are the underdogs, and that gives the pressure to work. But it's going to be a difficult one, so we have to work to see how we can make a second round.
Ça va être plus difficile comme le dernier CAN.
Ivorian legend regrets for never having the opportunity to play in any AFCON on home soil.
I never had the chance to play an African Cup of Nations in Côte d'Ivoire, and I wish I was still playing, you know, because it would have been amazing for me to perform here in front of my people.
Group C, where Cameroon is lodged, is the only group which contains nations who participated in the last AFCON that was hosted by Cameroon, and all have played each other before in an AFCON tournament.
Good luck in advance to the Lions. And viewers, that brings us to the end of the news on Equinoxe Television at 6 p.m. Thank you so much for always being with us. Don't go away. Our programs continue in about 30 minutes or 35 minutes. Equinoxe Soir with Serge Alongutu and Julien Beth Bissay will be with you at 8 p.m. for the news in the French language. Thank you again for staying with us.